Hi everybody, this is Hero back with another Dragonflight video, and in this video want to talk about a Pyroblast hardcast single target Fire Mage build for Dragonflight. Yes, I said it. We are going to fill every GCD we possibly can with Pyroblast and Pyroblast only. Let's get into it. Okay, so I think there's some scuffed stuff in a lot of the mage trees that have just been released. I'm not going to talk about any of that. A lot of it is problematic. And lots of other people have already signaled that there's some issues. However, I want to focus our attention for today's video on a build idea that makes good on what I think is a great design. So when it comes to designing something that'll be evergreen, what you want is a designer to come up with things like this: tempered flames. This is an alternate choice for Fire Mages about how to think about combustion, their main CD. Typically, in a lot of expansions, and I've played Fire Mage quite a lot, and raiding N'Zoth Fire Mages was probably the peak time, right? Because of the Blaster Master, which is back, by the way, combined with our bracers. But that was all the same kind of system of combustion windows within Rune of Power, giant amounts of damage, maximizing instant cast Pyroblasts, and then filling. This idea, Tempered Flames, says, what if I gave you another alternative? There's a price to pay, there's a penalty or a kiss curse, but the payoff might be worth it if you can string together the right pieces. So we're going to put together the pieces. What we want is to make Pyroblast castable. It is a 4.5 second cast time. What is the payoff for having half of a combustion? What if outside of your combustion, everything else you were doing was gigantic damage? Well, the only way to do that is to make good on cast time for Pyroblast, and Tempered Flames get you started with 35% reduced cast time. If you have about 30% haste on live, and this is the same tooltip from the live game in Shadowlands, you can take your 4.5 second cast down to basically 3.2 or 3.5. It's about 1,000 haste rating. If the math is right, and we add this together with Tempered Flames, you're looking at about a 2.2 second cast for Pyroblast, which is crazy when you think about what Pyroblast is doing. Again, remember that Hot Streak doesn't add damage outside of a bit of ignite damage on your instant cast Pyroblasts. The value of getting the instant cast Pyroblast is you just didn't have to cast this thing. But we're going to combine those two worlds together. We're going to fill with Pyroblasts, and we're going to cast the instant cast ones we get. So let's look at all of the synergies in the bottom portions of the tree that are making this amazing. First of all, the main big takeaways. Things like Sun King's Blessing, which we're used to seeing. After consuming 8 hot streaks, your next non-instant pyro grants combustion for 6 seconds. Maybe this will be shaved down to 3 if we're using Tempered Flames, but nevertheless, giving you that is excellent. This is going to make it far more consistent, even if we only get 3 seconds of combustion, because for those 3 seconds, everything's going to continue to crit, give us more hot streaks, etc., etc., so it smooths the gameplay. Over here, we have Fire Frenzy. When Hot Streak activates, you have a low chance to cause all Pyroblasts to have no cast time and be guaranteed crit strikes for 5 seconds. Again, another instant cast version of this. What this means is your instant cast Pyros, you have a lot of haste, so your GCD will be lower, and is going to essentially continually activate Hot Streak, because you'll fire 2 off, and then it'll be instant cast, or wherever you are in the cycle, the next one you cast will also give you Hot Streak again. So this, again, is another gameplay loop that we can tie in together with Sun King's Blessing, because those consumptions of Hot Streak that we are producing whenever we get this effect are suddenly going to also advance our combustion window. Then we have the 2 pieces that support it. Controlled Destruction is just a nice extra damage amp at the top and bottom, but it's 70-30, it's not 80-20, so it's even better. Fevered Incantation is just another smoothing or more damage amp based on how much we crit, and we will have quite a lot of crit chance on Pyroblast. Let's just take a look at that very briefly. Haste is the one problem, making sure we can cast Pyroblasts, but Fevered Incantation is also giving us increased crit chance. 15 here, 15 from Critical Mass. We get another 4 on the tree from Tome of Ronin. That's 34% crit chance before you even consider secondary stats, and that doesn't even account for the bonus part of the 10% more from any crit. So I think Pyroblast is in a good place to crit outside of combustion windows, but this gameplay loop of Sun Kings and Fire Frenzy tying together the instant cast portions, allowing you to get back to combustion, is excellent. And we'll talk a little bit about Time Anomaly later. The other major power pieces here, things like Pyroclasm. Pyroclasm traditionally was a talent, I believe. It's had a few different iterations, but this is the one that we're really trying to fish for. So consuming Hot Streak, and again, when we're pressing Fire Frenzy, we are going to get Hot Streak casts because every couple of casts, we are just in getting it, right? And you can fill with your Fire Blasts as you normally would. This is kind of like a mini combustion. So consuming Hot Streak has a 15% chance to make your next non-instant Pyro deal 240% additional damage. And this has charges, guys. That has a maximum stacks of 2, which is awesome for this build. If it didn't have maximum of 2 stacks, it would be far harder to recommend people try this in single target because there would be so much chewing up of these buffs because you're in the middle of instant cast shenanigans with Fire Frenzy and Sun King's Blessing, and you wouldn't get around to casting that long Pyroblast. But here's the deal. Pyroclasm is good even when you have like a 3.5-second cast Pyroblast to do. It does so much damage. But what if you had a 2-second cast of Pyroblast? What if you could get Haste, put it together with Tempered Flames, and get your Pyroblast cast to 2 seconds? It suddenly makes fishing for Pyroclasm insanely good because these casts with all the extra crit are going to also feed back into this system. Really good. Finally, casting Pyroblast or Flame Strike while Hot Streak is active has an 8% chance to instantly reactivate Hot Streak. So this, again, just guarantees a little bit more looping in of these major pieces. Sun King's Blessing, Fire Frenzy, all tying them together by giving you additional chances to produce Hot Streak. Again, producing and consuming Hot Streak is going to give you the instant cast prolongation, and those are over time going to give you more access to the long version. So gameplay wise, you have a similar strategy of opening with combustion, which is probably by the end of it going to give you a couple Pyroclasms. You're going to use these, and then you're going to fill with Pyroblast because Pyroblast casts are going to give you access to this gameplay loop more often, right? Other pieces. Ignite damage is up. That's fine. That's good for single target, and then we can finally spread it. They have like an AoE idea here where Flame Strike's your go-to for AoE with Living Bomb and stuff. Fine. But there's no way to spread Ignite unless you get to Master of Flame, unless there's something I've completely missed. And then the rest of these are just filler to get to the bottom of the tree. Finally, Improved Scorch I have here just as an aside. We basically have 1 point to work with, and I don't think Flame Patch is worth it, so that's kind of why I have it here. On the class side, what supports this? Well, we have to get Rune of Power, I think. We're just sat there casting lots of giant boulders, and we want to make sure that we can make good on that damage. So yeah, Rune of Power is the go-to here. We want to get our secondary stats, so crit and haste are essential to get for this kind of a build. And then what I've done here is just worked out a way to get down to Time Anomaly and Shifting Power based on those priorities. So making sure I have Rune, making sure I have these two, and then making sure I can get to here. What does Time Anomaly offer for us? Well, I'm not sure if it's going to give you 2.5 seconds of combustion based on Tempered Flames, or if this is coded to give you 5 seconds. So too with Sun King's Blessing, maybe it's coded to be 6 no matter which of these talents you take. But either way, it's giving you another passive way to access crit, 100% crit chance, essentially, right? And if this is 5 seconds, this is really quite good for this build. But even if it's not, you're still getting a Fire Blast charge, guys. And a Fire Blast charge is essentially more crit, more chances to generate Hot Streak, more chances to get Sun Kings online, and more chances for Pyroclasm to proc. So Time Anomaly is exceedingly good, and this is actually probably just really good for mages in general. But if you're thinking about a mage that's moving away from one singular combustion window and going towards a smoother rotation, Time Anomaly is unbelievably good for helping to smooth. Shifting Power, I'm not sure if this is going to be that good, but what it's essentially saying is you get more Fire Blasts. So maybe there's, and obviously you can cool down Combustion as well and other things, but for the purposes of our build, the main takeaway for this is you get to cool down our Fire Blasts and have access to that more often. So maybe you're moving, or maybe you just finished your Combustion window and you want to get back some charges of Fire Blast, so that when you're doing your regular rotation, you can weave it in to get your procs, etc., etc., etc. It's just another throughput ability that you can find on the tree on the left side. Anyways, I'm excited to test this one out, guys. I love builds where you can focus all of your attention on one idea that maybe is a little bit out of the way or an unusual way to think about it, but you can stack together all these synergies to make it work. And I think it helps Fire Mages think about an idea that moves them away from burst windows, which has been historically what we've been doing for a long time, into a longer game. I also like the idea of long cast abilities, because I want to see huge boulders go out and do massive amounts of damage and just be able to do that over and over again. Let me know what you think in the comments. We will catch you guys again next time.